in-house investment team. So there's 3 people, which is nice. Like, we're a boutique firm. We're not beholden to another big company. So there's an in-house investment team. So that's what they're dedicated to doing is, they've got their software and they know what, people are invested in. There's alerts when things go up or down. And ultimately our goal is always to keep people on a trend upward. And I think that's the benefit of having a financial advisor, because there is a fee involved.
Sure.
We are not insurance salesmen.
Sure.
Our company and me, which is why I went with them 10 years ago, I feel like insurance is a way to mitigate your risk. I don't feel like it's an investment. Those have large commissions on them, which is why most people are pushed those. But annuities and whole life and universal life, we're term life people. And I think, so we don't push products. So we're an asset under management company, which means you have to have money for us to manage, and that's how we're paid. And so our investment team, that's what they spend their time doing, is just watching.
Do you take it going in, or do you take it per trade?
Not
say
per trade
if I give you $500,000, you take your commission coming in.
It's an annual percentage, and we bill it quarterly.
Okay.
So, and it's right on our website, right? Like, it's very transparent.
Sure.
I think people get so squirrely talking about fees, whereas I'm like, are you kidding me? Ask all the questions, because then, I want you to be making the decision like energetically in a good way.
Of
so
course.
we manage money. We don't sell products. So it's a different model than a lot of financial advisors.
How long have you been doing this?
So I've only been doing this for 3 years. The company's been around since
that's a pretty good bit.
Since the 80s.
Is that Al Roker? Excuse me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you can't tell because of his face, but
yes, you can tell. You know exactly who that was.
I know, but it's because of his mask. It might not be Al Roker. You don't know. It could be a person there.
No, it's Al Roker. I'll feel it. I know it.
You'd have to hear his voice. Turn it up, because then you could definitely tell. You think he'll get the president to come over there and talk to him like he does at Good Morning America? Is that where he is? Good Morning America?
I don't watch Morning Show.
I don't either. Look, hey, talk to that the security girl.
We will get to see the president. If you notice, members of the military now are at salute. As they get ready for their commander-in-chief.
All right, I'm done with this.
To make his way,
that's awesome.
Here into the...
Incredible.
It's been a safe day.
So 3 years though. That's what we talked about yesterday.
Ultimately, that's all that matters. It's been a safe day for everyone. Yeah. So I've been at IRC Wealth for 3 years, but I've been a client for a decade. So I kind of knew what was happening. I actually was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. I'm a corporate CPA before that, so I do have my CPA license. I'm also a certified divorce financial analyst, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, there is a real thing, right? Which is kind of a newer specialty, but it's helping people.
While you're dividing up those sky miles, just pass some over this way.
What's the? My dad's a divorce attorney, and he said, or that's one of his specialties, if you will. And he said, why divorces cost so much? Because they're worth it.
Well, absolutely. People are just wanting their life back. And we say that with quote fingers, but that's how they feel. Right. They just, they're willing to do what it takes to get that freedom. Yeah, for sure.
Tell me, I've heard this word being thrown around a bunch, and I guess I don't necessarily know what's a boutique firm?
It just means small, and it means so like
family money it started with, and it's just.
Yes, I guess you could say that. Like the dad and the brothers were together, and now it's just our CEO, David Ragland. But meaning we're not an advisor at Schwab has to, Schwab is our custodian. So Madoff, it's like the financial advisor joke. Like, we don't actually ever have custody of your money because Madoff made off with your money. Like, he had physical custody of the money. Sure. So Schwab is our custodian.
There was no money left, so there was no custody. He didn't even have custody of it, right?
Well, he had it. That's how he could take it.
Right.
Whereas, the money is at Schwab, so we can only trade in that account, but we can't actually get the money out of it, right? That's the client. But boutique just means small, and that we are not affiliated with an Edward Jones, where you could find an Edward Jones anywhere in the company, or you could find a Merrill or a Morgan Stanley. So we are unique in that it's just our CEO, it's myself. We have 3 people on our investment team, like an operations and finance person and a client service person. So we are small but mighty.
Well, I've just heard, especially when people get busted with the SEC, they don't allow them to run a big firm anymore. You're busted down to a boutique firm or a family firm with family money. You can only reach assets to this.
Yeah,
when they get
so
come down
SEC
on,
registered means that your asset base is over $100 million consistently. So otherwise you're state registered, Whereas I can help anyone with a U.S. residential address because our asset volume is over the SEC threshold.
What Cayman Island address? Can you do that, or maybe Switzerland?
No, I've called on a few different people who I've helped I met online, but they were in Singapore. Even if you're an American citizen with a non-residential address,
sounds shady already.
I know, right? But these are lovely people. But even if you're a U.S. citizen with like a Canadian address, we can't help you.
No,
it has to have a U.S. residential address, and then depending on where your citizenship is, that might be fine.
It's not much difference from credit card processing. When the underwriters that we deal with, you have to have an American address and American bank account for sure.
Yes, that too.
Yeah,
keep it on the up and up.
Yeah, they like. IRS is weird about stuff like that. They like to know how much to charge you at the end of the year, right?
And then they might get it wrong, and then you might not be able to get someone to figure it out. But yes, I've actually helped people do some IRS, like just because it's a matter of sitting down and taking care of the.
What doesn't hurt you were a CPA at first too?
No, that helps. Yeah. So I also, because we work with some small businesses, so I can kind of look at their financials and help them understand like maybe where they could do better here or there. Yeah, that's part of what we do have CFO services. We just don't push those, meaning, we can be paid to review your books on a regular basis. But our main goal is personal wealth. And then we also help entrepreneurs. So like a 1099 or a solopreneur, they can have their own 401k accounts, even their own profit sharing and pension account if they make enough money. So one of the fun ones that we've helped recently, and this is sort of partly where I'm focusing a little bit of my marketing, is we had this gentleman, I can't tell you who he is, right? Because he's a client, but he has figured out the secret sauce to YouTube.
What's a social media or a social number? It's 3, 2, and then 4.
What?
The Social Security. Yeah, what's the Social Security number? Yeah.
I can't even tell you like his account, right? Because that is giving too much information. But he was making just 5 figures last year, right?
Nice.
Just a regular Joe. Figured out the secret sauce to YouTube and posting videos, and he is making, in 2020 he was close to 7 figures, and he is multiple 7 figures going forward.
Cool.
And so it's just him and his wife, so we were able to set them up with a 401k, a profit sharing, and a pension plan, and all that's doing is saving his taxes, and then he's using that tax savings to fund his personal retirement.
Right.
Because when you start making that money, people get so afraid of taxes, which no one wants to pay more in taxes, but when you're making more money, it's a byproduct. You're not paying 100% of what you're making into taxes, so stop letting that be a limiting belief of why you can't make more money. Because there's ways, very legal, very above board ways to save on those taxes. So I hear that a lot though, and people are afraid to make more money because they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to pay more in taxes," and they don't understand it. Well, that's why you hire somebody like us, right? And a CPA, and they help you figure it out.
It's a mindset.
Awful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's valuable part of your job, though, is to help people change their mindset.
I can't wait till I have to pay the government $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? Because then how much are you making?
That's a good day.
Well, yeah, that means you made 6, 7, 8. Something.
And what we say,
10.
it's like 80% emotional, 20%,
whatever it is.
20% financial. I mean,
Right.
the numbers piece is the easy part. It's the mindset. It's that decision making.
Yeah.
Oh, he did it. He got him.
Oh, yes.
He got him.
Oh, nailed it.
Roker
Nailed
roped him in.
Rewind it. We don't have rewind on this. Man, Roker
You
got
totally
it.
called that.
I called the Roker.
We got it recorded though.
Oh, man. But we can't turn it up at the same time. I bet he's even freaked out. Look at him. They're laughing at him too. I called it.
Oh, that was good.
Man.
Fist bump.
We do
Thanks,
have,
Mr. President.
We do have it on video that I called
good.
it. Look at that lady behind him. She's pissed. She's like, "Why didn't he fucking shake my hand?" Look at her. She's got the big Russian microphone too.
Yeah.
I call it the Russian microphone because of the hat. Yeah.
That's the whatever the windshield you put on in like a tsunami.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here
She's
it goes again.
She's still pissed. Oh, there he goes again. Moments ago, they did it. The fist bump with gloves too. They got the gloves fist bump just cause COVID. They don't want to spread it. Let
me tell you, she is miserable walking
Look,
that street in those heels.
6 feet,
Miserable.
6 feet. They're not even walking 6 feet between them.
It's his family.
No, not all of them.
Yeah, all
They're wearing a mask.
Every bit of them. What are they from Utah? Oh my gosh.
He looked pretty athletic getting over there to Roker too. He might have just moved up the draft board.
Bull crap, man. That guy's got so many PEDs in him for him to get up there and talk. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
This dude, there it goes again. Here we go again.
Boom.
Boom. Who is that?
No.
I don't even know who you are. Hey, that person's looking at you over there. Hey, Mr. President, did you hear me? He still had it out. That guy didn't want to answer that question because he ignored him. He must have asked him something messed up.
He maybe forgot where he was going.
Hey, where's the porta potty out here?
Joe, quit wandering off to the side.
Awesome. He's like that. He's like, oh, look at you. Yes.
His wife's talking about
it's
security.
kind of fascinating that he's actually out on the street walking, considering, I guess that's a pretty big safety.
I think it's pretty fascinating the guy is walking, period. Amy, come on. Look how old this dude is.
Well, okay, then he deserves a high five for that.
Oh, my
the
gosh.
security must
That's
be...
what I'm saying. His family's
they're
over
lining-
like, Joe's wandering off to the side
Look,
again.
they're lining the streets. If you look up and down both sides, they've got like armed like guards like every 3 feet down the side.
Oh my gosh.
Those are not armed guards. Those are reminders.
Yeah, that's right.
Direction to keep moving in.
That's right. We're just here to tell you the direction of flow. Yeah.
Hey, Joe,
There's
it's that
one
way.
cameraman.
It's
There's
that way.
2 people on each side going, come on, come this way.
Yes.
Right.
Keep walking toward us.
I'm talking about the further in the background.
He's a
Wave
little-
at
those guys.
people.
Those guys are in uniform in the
Oh,
back.
yeah. Yeah, they're standing to attention. Look, this guy, he can actually outwalk Trump, man. He's walking pretty fast.
And his hair stays in place better.
It does. It
Trains
does.
with
Well,
Liam Neeson.
you know, but Donald Trump's hair's been like that since the 80s. Like, it's been that way forever.
Listen, if it isn't broken, don't fix it.
But that is broken for sure. He just doesn't want to, he hasn't had the come to Jesus talk where, look, it's broken.
Right, where Melania's like, dude, no more.
She hates him. Every time she looks at him, she's like, that son of a bitch.
I'm pretty sure that
I bet she was probably more happy about him not getting reelected than anybody in the world. Because I don't have to be in the same house as you anymore. You can go to the Trump in Vegas. I'll stay the one in New York. Get the fuck out of my hair. The real hair.
Yeah, poor thing. She never really wanted that kind of spotlight on her.
No.
Yeah.
But I bet she's happier than anybody, so she can, just get out of the. I do not want to spend one more second with you.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm reading here that Trump is only like a 6 or 7 handicap golf though.
he plays a lot. Should be pretty good.
I mean,
I don't know, man.
he's got to own courses.
That's
and
impressive.
things,
He's got
right?
a bunch of courses.
He said he played like 100 rounds while he.
Most of his stuff now is only licensed name though. He doesn't own any of it.
Yeah.
Most of the buildings and everything are just Trump licensed.
Good, then he sold them for a profit.
No.
Okay.
Get out of here. No, he
sure-
never built
I'm
he
sure
never
he
built
owed
them.
somebody.
Most of the ones now that say Trump on it, he never even built them. He just talked them in, which is a great sales tactic. Hey, my name's worth a lot. And it is. So he talked a bunch of people into just license the Trump name, which is the smarter move for him too, because you don't have anything to lose then either.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, I don't have to worry about the building. I don't have to worry about any of the minutia, all the going, the contractors, everybody have to work with.
Or
I
what's
can just do
happening
it.
in like New York real estate or any of those other.
For sure. Yeah. It's way better. Shoot, I thought, the I was about to say The Bachelor. When he was on The Bachelor?
What was that show called? You're fired. What was
Yeah.
it?
The Apprentice.
Apprentice.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably made millions upon millions and still is with the name. That was a great move for him.
It was kind of a good show.
They were talking about bringing it back.
Sure. With him?
Oh, that'd be great.
He's gonna
Oh
need
my
something
God.
to do.
Epic.
I don't know if I was him, I wouldn't do anything.
Well, maybe not right now, but
No, I wouldn't do anything ever.
I'd game plan and run.
Get out of here. Call Star, See what she's up to. Get some of your money back. There's an undisclosed amount there. Like, I already paid you. You owe me.
it's probably a rounding error for him, though.
Yeah?
My guess is.
Like going around the 9th to get to the 10th?
No, like a rounding error, like it really didn't affect his wealth.
No,
so.
it definitely didn't.
Yeah,
Right.
There's insurance policies for that.
absolutely.
What do they call it? One of my old mentors, he has an insurance policy called asshole policy. Just anything that I do that's assholeness, it'll cover it.
Yeah, I think that might be an umbrella policy.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
Just full on anything.
For sure. Yeah.
So what is if you were to go back and if you go back in the past and you were to talk to the you when you first were getting started, like you just got out of school, what kind of advice would you give to that person now? Like what's the key thing?
Start young, right? So most people will end up probably with some sort of corporate job to begin with. Most of the entrepreneurs, usually you go to your corporate job and you're like, this sucks. And then you're deciding you're going to do your own thing. So I would say take advantage of your corporate 401k. I don't have the actual number for you, but if you save from 25 to 35, the exact, I don't know what the amount is, and you stopped. But then at 65, you'd have more money than if you started at 35 and kept going because of the time value of money. So time in the market is how you make money. Timing the market is how you lose money. So start. And I think if you have $100,000 but you spend $100,000, you're not exactly rich, right? You're making a great salary, but you're spending it. So I think what happens is we tend to earn more, spend more, earn more, spend more. And so if you can keep your lifestyle the same when you get raises and then invest that difference, then I think that is the best way. I mean, ultimately, that's how my husband and I grew our wealth, is that we just consistently did automatic investments.
Invest in yourself.
We invested in ourselves. So we, both at the time we were working, and then when I wasn't working, he did, we invested the max in the 401k. And then we would automatically, as soon as the paycheck hit, it was set up to draft to our brokerage accounts. And then it was set up to draft to our emergency fund, and then set up to draft to, a vacation fund, a birthday fund, a holiday fund. And so I lived on the difference, because if you don't take it out of your paycheck, it's almost like you just can't help but spend it. It's super fun. So if you invest in yourself, get it out of your hands, and then you live on what's left, and recognize that your credit card is not your emergency fund, and that's not, that is for, nobody pays cash anymore, right? So I love to use my credit card, but I pay it off every month. But a lot of people think, oh, well, my emergency fund is my credit card. Well, no, that's not it. So I think it's
not really a fund.
That's just your float,
right?
No, but that's how people think of
emergency
it.
fund is a fund.
Yeah, but people will use the balance on their credit card as their emergency fund.
Right.
That's all.
Well, the credit card should just be that's just your convenience fund to get from the 1st to the 31st.
And then you pay it off and
start
never pay
over.
those fees.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you get a little bit of rewards.
Sure.
You get
the miles, we've taken trips on credit card miles. That's why we do it. So I say start young, invest, and then when you make more, don't up your lifestyle to match it.
Put your investments on the family payroll and pay them first and pay yourself second.
Literally, when my husband gets a paycheck, when I get a paycheck, money, I just write it down like it's coming out. Then I usually people get paid on a Friday. I have them draft on that Monday, and I don't have to go in and do that every month. It's just been doing it for years. So when the paycheck comes in, then I write out the brokerage account, the emergency fund, the savings account, and it just comes right off the top. And I live on the difference.
I think that you've said a couple of things that resonate with me, but it probably can help other people. You kept saying we, and you're talking about you and your husband.
Correct.
And I think that you talking about divorces and things like that earlier. Like the biggest cause of divorces, one of them is money, right? Isn't that number one or number two? It's up there.
Yes, for sure.
So having that communication with your spouse is key early on, especially to know what you're going to save and when you're going to save it. So then there's no surprises of what I'm going to take out. What are you going to give? What am I going to give? So you guys obviously have been working as a team for that long.
Well, I like to say, personal finance is a team sport, whether that's with your spouse or whether that's with your business partner. It is, I think people don't want to have the conversations about it. And so having that conversation, even if it's a hard conversation because the numbers aren't great, it sort of gets the monster out from under the bed. And then you realize it's not really that big of a deal and you can tackle it. So you absolutely have to have these conversations. I think, it is a struggle. Like neither he or I are big spenders, and we've made the choice that we will spend on experiences. So we love travel, taking trips. We don't care as much about a car or having, a super upgraded house. I'm 100% debt free, including my house. Nothing lives better and drives better than something that's paid for.
100%.
So it's having those hard conversations. I say it's almost too, like, whether you're single or not, you need to have a money quote date, whether it's with yourself or with someone. And you have to kind of habit stack. You have to put something positive with it. So whether that's, we're going to have a glass of wine and put on some music and sit on the deck and talk about it, or, however you want to do it, but you have to have the conversation. And so many times women don't want to be involved. They kind of want to look the other way or bury their head in the sand. And then when it comes to hard decisions or when it comes to something awful like a divorce, that's, where my heart goes out to these women that will come in my office and have no idea, of their finances. And
I'll be that woman coming in your office because my wife handles everything.
You come on in there.
She handles everything. Like, she was stealing from me.
Well,
she was the CPA of our family, and she did it. She had this whole thing that she was going to do, and pro forma.
How do I get the gas turned on?
I got pro forma'd out. Now, I'll tell you, I'm not a car person either. I bought my first brand new car last year before last.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never owned a new car. It's always used
Go.
ever. But I'm not a car person. Look, you have to sacrifice one or the other though. If you want that nice car, you can't do this. Like there are a lot of dudes
like a Kardashian.
Yeah,
always.
Unless you're a Jenner.
Unless you're Jenner.
Then you can live like a Kardashian, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think, and too, maybe for you, it's for people who are, less wealthy at the time or struggling, like maybe your treat is that you eat out. And
it's all relative.
It's all relative. Yeah. So, but I think if you are struggling with your finances, then eating out every night is not your wealthy choice. So you decide you're going to cook and you're going to, eat out once and that's your treat, or you're going to go get your nails done once a month. I mean, it's not that you're treating yourself to a new car or so it's all relative.
Getting
for
your
sure.
pedicure is better than getting a new car though.
I mean, yeah.
Because it's awesome.
It is awesome.
They massage your calves.
Yeah. Oh, I love pedicures.
God.
Yeah, I could take or leave a manicure, but a pedicure, it's at the first Friday of the month.
Yeah.
This one
We've done a lot of bets in this office of sales bets and everything. In the beginning of Corona, COVID, March, was it May when we did that? We all went and Roderick lost a bet and he had to get his chest waxed.
Oh, like.
Yeah. And I got a pedicure after.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of it.
Well, what I thought you were going to say is that someone then had to give someone a pedicure.
That's not bad.
That's pretty harsh punishment.
I don't want anybody touching my feet besides the people down there.
You don't
that
want
know.
Bailey or Chris here to get
That's weird.
I
Get
wouldn't
out of
do
here.
it. I would just hire someone else to do it.
Yeah, I bring the tub in here and everything's like, do it. That's awesome. We keep it pretty fun in here though. But
You have to keep it fun. I think that goes with any of your money. Like, just freaking talk about it.
You got to be on the same page.
You do have to be on the same page.
Have you thought about this though? Because I think back when I'm 40 years old, so I think back when I was in the 80s and the 90s, especially if you did go buy groceries and cook at home, it was quite a bit cheaper.
It is still quite a bit
I don't
cheaper.
know.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
What, are you going to eat spaghetti and peanut butter jelly sandwiches? Because that is definitely cheaper. But, I mean, if you're going to have, like, good stuff at home.
I mean,
like
if you're a gourmet cook, I still think, you're not paying the tip. You're not using, you're not driving to get there. It's a connection that you're having in the process.
She's right. She's right.
I'm trying to check her. I want to check her. Well, look, when we get out of here, I'll check her resume and I'll tell you.
Yeah,
She's
for
on.
sure.
Cooking at home's a lot
even
cheaper.
It definitely is, but
if you're ordering
saying
like
a lot
blue-
cheaper, we're talking about 20%. Okay.
Well, if you're ordering like Blue Apron or HelloFresh,
No.
if you're getting like box meals, that's
I'm
different.
talking about like steaks and ribs and good stuff. Boar's Head, not the Publix brand.
Right.
Come on,
Well,
man.
it depends on how high end your
Boar's
stuff
Head.
you're getting.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Look at the deep pockets over here with the Boar's Head meat instead of the
story.
Publix meat.
Thin sliced. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's kind of
I
funny.
like sandwich
even as
sliced,
silly
actually.
as I used to shop. And how do you say this without being disrespectful? But I used to shop at Kroger because it was cheaper,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And that was like
That was my main
You're
gig.
about to say you upgraded to Publix.
And now I have gone to I'll go to Kroger still to get a gift card because then I can get points off my gas.
On the gas, yeah.
And like it doesn't matter how much wealth you have. Like you are who you are. So I will still go to Kroger to get my gift card. So
But
I can get
Kroger's a
points
good-
off my gas.
Kroger's a
but it's
good,
not a good shopping
grocery store.
experience.
It's not.
It's like Walmart and Target. Kroger
Yeah.
is Walmart and Publix is Target.
It's
that's it.
It doesn't feel like a good shopping experience.
Right.
Well, they don't keep it as clean.
I think also like the one in Dallas on 278 is way nicer than the one in Crossroads. It's way cleaner. It looks better. It's got the Starbucks in
I'll
there.
give you that.
It looks better. So the store itself matters.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
no disrespect to Kroger because there are super nice ones, but the one that is near me, which happens to be closer to KSU. You know, it's not the most pleasant shopping experience.
Shout out to that manager up there. You better get your stuff in order.
Yeah. Although I will say, I used to be a Girl Scout leader for 10 years, and they would let us sell cookies out front, and Publix doesn't do that.
Yes, they would. Publix is a little bit more corporate driven for sure. When I was
They're
a kid,
also way more expensive, though.
They are.
I'll go to
They
Kroger
are.
to get things because I have both right there at, by Cedar Crest. I'm not Cedar Crest, but
You wish.
Stylesboro
He's
and,
a
and
West
Mars
Coast
Hill.
snob, this guy.
So Stylesboro and Mars Hill right there. Brookstone, right? There's both. They're like across the street, and I'll go. They're the same for me to get into each one. I'll just go to the Kroger a lot of times if I'm just grabbing a few things because it's like 20% cheaper. Like the same item.
But I'll tell you the only thing that, like, because look, if you're getting Kraft macaroni and cheese in a box, it's the same from Kroger thing. But the cold cuts, I don't care. I'm not buying them at Kroger because they're way better. The deli is just way better. All the way out it's way better at Publix than it is Kroger.
And I don't like to wait in the deli line, so I order it online and pick it up.
See, because it's a long line there.
It's a line.
The produce.
Everyone
There's a
knows.
difference in the produce.
I got a hook up there because I just do the nod when I get in line,
Nice.
and they know what I'm getting, so they just me.
They
you know how
spit
I
on
do
your-
this
they
stuff.
spit on your
No,
stuff.
they do not. I can see them, and they're wearing masks.
They turn around.
They're wearing masks now. You can't do that.
They pull it down.
I don't believe you.
Well, that's that guy.
I don't believe you here. But here, Vice President Harris and Madam Mr. Vice President.
What's his title?
I don't know. What's his title?
What's it gonna be?
I don't know.
The second lady
I
man?
think it's just his name.
Second lady.
Do they call the vice president's wife traditionally the second lady? Is he the second
Yeah, I think so.
man?
I
Second
think
man?
so.
Is that a thing? Did I just make that up?
No, I don't think you did. I think that's a thing.
She's going to be taking over. The pool that we need to start is we need to take bets on at what date will she be running the country because it's just a matter of time
Before he gets
this dude is
unhealthy.
gonna, he's gonna get kicked
You
out.
think he's gonna get whacked?
He's senile. I mean,
No.
he's gonna lose it.
His health is gonna,
No.
He's fading. Yeah.
just like his health deteriorating.
You think he's gonna die in the next 4 years?
There's Vegas odds on this right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I know.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
just want to talk to y'all about
Oh
it.
yeah, for sure.
I'm excited.
I'll tell you the odds once.
I don't know. I
Odds
feel like
within 4 years.
There's everything.
It says right here,
There's odds of him
Jill
getting
Tracy
assassinated.
Biden, who is the first lady of the United States. She was the second lady of the United States. It actually says it.
So is he the second man?
Second lady.
He's the second man.
That second gentleman?
He's the second gentleman.
He's still the
The
second
second
lady.
dude.
I don't know.
Second
They
lady.
have
Second
to
dude.
have some special magic because I love anything British. I had my ancestry done and I have a lot of British, ancestry. And the Queen, I mean, she's like 94. And the Prince is like 99. So there's probably some like special magic that will keep him going.
Preserve him.
Well, I mean, he
Yeah.
look. He
got
made
good-
it through
good stuff.
the 6 times he showed himself in public in the presidential race.
Yeah.
But look, at first he didn't look good. He didn't talk good, and then after when he got into when doing the debates, it was like a different person. So those drugs that they gave him were,
Yeah.
they were
Maybe
the
it's
best.
just some really good supplements and
Yeah.
IV
Supplements.
vitamins.
Amy, supplements don't do that to you. Just saying.
Well, I mean,
saying.
depends on what you're supplementing your body with. Anything could be a
he
supplement.
He got with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
And got that limitless drug.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
he needs more of it.
Yes, he does. Because
I
he's
know,
got about
hanging in on
4
that
more
walk.
years left.
He's hanging in on that walk.
He is.
For sure.
He's gonna have to ice his knees for hours after this.
These women are going to have to ice their feet with these shoes.
For sure. Look at that dress. That is hideous.
Oh, the green one?
Yes, don't you think?
I mean, it's not my choice, but
Look, I'm a fashion consultant right now.
yes, you
Look,
are.
I like the glasses though. The glasses are baller. And the gloves are great. Like that. Those are Oaktown people, man. These guys are from the streets of Oakland.
They're about as much from the streets as W. Bush is from the streets of Texas.
Yeah.
I wonder what the walk route actually is. Like if it's this like one city block, like a square, and we just keep seeing a version of it, or if it's
That's Pennsylvania Avenue.
I think they're walking probably from the
Capitol.
Capitol to the
That's-
White
No, I've
House.
been there a
That's a
lot.
bit of a walk.
They're walking the mall.
I'm almost positive that's Pennsylvania Avenue. Yeah, it
think the
is.
White
Because
House
yes, it is. Because that's all the buildings out there. I've walked that road a bunch.
they're all about to get their pedicures to heal their feet.
You were in DC, right?
Yes, I lived there for 4 years.
So, what years were these?
95 to 99.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And that was when you were in college?
No, I had graduated. I worked. Worked at Ernst & Young.
Did you go
when
to
I
George
was in-
Mason?
I went to Virginia Commonwealth University.
Isn't Virginia Mason in D.C.? Or George
It's
Mason?
Northern Virginia, but I lived in Richmond. And
VCU is where you went to. Yeah.
They are known for basketball. Bailey probably knows that one. They don't have a football team. And then,
They're known for basketball.
yeah. And then I moved to D.C. I worked for Ernst & Young after I graduated, and I moved to D.C. and worked there for them. Yeah, loved it.
CPA?
Yes. I loved my time in D.C. I think it's like almost
It's a young
probably not for real.
It's a young person's game though up there, man.
Yeah, like it's probably made up more in my head, right, than if I actually went back and lived it, because it was
You
like
wouldn't wanna do it
4
now.
years of like playing softball on the mall on a team and like, you know, you just go to the Smithsonian on the weekend and just chill out, and it was the best.
Right outside those museums is where all those food trucks are now. I don't know if they were back then.
It wasn't like that
Man,
back
there are a
then.
bunch of food trucks and they're pretty awesome. You can get whatever you want to. We went a few years ago. It is pretty
You
awesome.
want to hear the bet odds for the presidency of 2024?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mike Pence and former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley are 8-1 odds right now. Vice President Kamala Harris has the best odds at 5-1. Then at 12-1 we have Andrew Yang, Pete Buttigieg, and Michelle Obama. And then at 25-1 we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Elizabeth Warren, and Joe Biden, and then Donald Trump at 40-1.
AOC
Donald
is
Trump
not
Jr. at 40-1.
AOC is not going to get it, but who should be up there is Trump's daughter. She could win it.
Oh, Ivanka.
She could win it. She's beautiful. She's
Brilliant.
really about. She's very brilliant.
Highly educated,
She's
yeah.
highly educated, and she was raised Democrat 90% of her life. She's married to one of the biggest Democratic families in New York, and her dad was the president as a Republican. So she walks down the middle of the aisle. She could win. Just saying. She could win if she was dumb as all get out because she's so good looking.
She's a beautiful girl.
But she's smart.
Sadly, you'd get votes from that.
Yeah, she would.
that's
But
okay.
but she's smart. She's very articulate. She can speak better than her dad. I believe that.
Yeah. Well, most people can.
And she probably wouldn't
can't
be
yell
like me.
Was she like
me.
35, 40?
No, she's 40.
Yeah.
So she'd be president at like 45.
You have to be 35, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think she's 39. I think she's 39 or 40. Look it up.
Yeah.
But she could win, and that's not on there.
Well,
But your Lane's mods.
Huh?
You're putting it out there.
If I
You
put
called it first.
If I put $1,000, she'll run. I think. I don't think Jared Kushner can win. I don't think that he could win, but I think she could.
For a guy who doesn't watch the news.
She's 39.
Huh?
For a guy who doesn't watch the news.
I don't watch the news. No, not at all. I don't. Really, I don't.
Just read the headlines.
Nah, I'm just
Well,
smart.
you can get a
Just
lot.
so smart.
You can get a lot from
Chattahoochee Tech, 1 quarter.
documentaries
Thanks.
too.
It's on the water. It's 1 quarter.
You need to approach them for
crush you.
sponsorship money. I feel like they're going to be a recurring theme.
I think that they would not want me as a spokesman.
rep?
As a spokesman. This guy.
You have nothing but good things to say about them.
I love it. It's great for look. At the end of the day, like it's great for students to not have to feel the pressure to go to Georgia or go to, a Division I college that costs a lot of money. First off, you're away from your family. There's not one way to do it. That's the whole point of this. Is not one way to do it, and you can go to a 2-year college or a Chattahoochee Tech or go to a Georgia Highlands or go to and then transfer or not transfer and go get a job and work. There's just not one way to do it, and I hate the stigma that you have to do this, then you have to do this, then you have to do this.
We have a terrible shortage of skilled workers and trades like craftsmen. Like there's a bad problem of shortage of plumbers and electricians.
Dude,
And
I know a lot
Big
of
time.
rich plumbers and a lot of rich electricians.
But there's not
that
enough.
Make a
There's not-
shitload of
They
money.
do. They make great money.
There's not
but
enough.
There's not enough in the
starting
training.
in the young age group. There's
Yeah,
not
but
enough.
Look, at the end of the day, you go and learn the trade from somebody,
Yeah.
and the great American dream is then you go start your own business, and you have 3 or 4 trucks. You start out with 1 truck, you have 100 clients. You go get those clients yourself, then you get another truck because it's too busy for you, and then you get another truck, and then you get another truck,
Agreed.
and you grow and you grow and you grow and you grow, and then you're a wealthy person. Let me tell you something. I love what you do, but and it's needed, but you also need to grow a wealth within a residual income stream and have something that you can build while you're doing that too.
Agreed.
It's
I
eggs
think
in
you have
baskets.
to have multiple income streams. But I think there is a fallacy that a lot of people think they're going to grow their business. They do not save outside of that.
I don't need to save because I'll just make enough
100%.
money.
Because I'm
Yeah.
going to sell my business.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to use to retire. But
Yep.
I mean, how many lifelong restaurants, how many businesses in 2020, their value literally bottomed
That's vertically
out?
driven. So it's certainly vertically driven. So restaurants are not the best thing to sell. But if you're an HVAC company and you got 1,000 clients, 1,000 subscription clients, contracted clients, they don't buy your vans. They buy your clients.
They're buying your clients.
That's
Absolutely.
it.
But you should still
you're
be,
right.
you should still
vertically
be
driven.
covering
Yes,
yourself on
well,
the other side.
It's the same thing as what I
No
said.
matter what.
There's not one way to do it, but you should be doing all of it. You should have a 401k. You should have this, and you should be growing some other business.
Yeah, ultimately, maybe you own your buildings.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a little real estate. You have your business, but you're also investing in retirements and using your dividends and income as another revenue stream.
right.
I think you definitely need to cover all those buckets.
For sure.
For sure. But you can't just say, oh, I own this building and I'm going to sell it, and that's going to be my retirement, or I own my business and I'm going to sell it.
Well,
'Cause
you talked about timing earlier too, and if anything in the last 20 years have talked, and this is really, I've said this before. When that airplane hit that building in 2001, we've had like 6 of these scares in 20 years, which didn't happen but one time
For
in
like
about
decades.
40 years.
Yeah.
So, to 2001, this is a reoccurring theme, and we talked about the Bitcoin is about to bust. I mean,
It's heavily inflated.
yes. I mean those things are going to happen. So you have to have those. So if you think you're going to buy that, you might not be able to have anybody buy that build within 5 years or 6 years.
Especially commercial real estate.
Things
right?
change.
Like what
Yes.
happened after 2020. I mean, that seemed like a really sound way to put your money
2008
somewhere.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just have to have multiple income streams. But the market, if you back up, so I'm not, promising any returns, but if you get close to the market, right? Like if you're looking at
Compliance
a graph,
officers out there,
I know,
if you're
right?
listening.
We put them in an air conditioned room. It's 20 degrees.
I'm
in
not
there.
making
They're
any
very uncomfortable.
promises.
It's up and down, right? Which is volatility. And as an investor, we actually kind of like volatility,
course
right?
you do.
Because you have the opportunity to sell when it's high, and you have the opportunity to buy when it's low. So I think people get so upset about a low market, but it always comes back. But I think what's interesting to note is the bottom of the market in March. I mean, we're so much better off than when that started, but how many people panicked and thought, oh, I've got to get out of the market, I've got to sell, which is why I go back to the mindset of it is a long-term investment, because you need to be educated and you need to be emotionally sound enough to withstand the waves.
Well, we're 40, so we're still relatively young, so we can take those crashes right now.
Yeah,
you don't want to take them when you're 65, though.
The only way you take a loss is if you have to sell.
Right.
So if you didn't have
That
to
locks
sell,
it in.
if you
Right.
didn't have to sell, then technically that's a paper loss,
That's
and that
right.
doesn't count. So,
Yes.
Well, I haven't taken my series, so I can say when it bottoms out, that's the time to jump in with both feet
Yes.
People who
and dump
had-
everything you have
Yes.
into it and ride the wave back up.
People
right?
who had available cash
Yeah.
when the market went down have been some of the better people who've made it out, right? Because
Right.
you were able to invest when the market was low, and those stocks have all.
People that have a
What
little
is,
bit of money make the most money in bad times. The medium people and wealthy people get rich, and
Of course.
people who get scared and jump out, they're the ones that lock in their
Right.
losses. Yeah.
Well, I've forgotten more than you'll ever. You've forgotten more than I'll ever know about this, and it's not my job to learn all. I'd have to not do what I do to learn everything you know. But I feel like it was. I was told by somebody that has been in the wealth managing industry for 20, 30 years that it was going to get down to like into the teens. And I don't understand why it hasn't, because we've given away so much money. Can you explain to me
Why the
why we've given away so much money?
You're talking about the stock market?
Yes, like it's funny money. It's crazy, right?
What are you talking
It's
about?
crazy.
The indicator. Well, I mean, this is my guess. I'm gonna guess, and then she's gonna give you the real answer.
Okay, yeah.
The indicators like the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq. These are just composites of certain stocks, right?
accumulation of,
they don't indicate the overall picture, and I mean, the Fed and all those other
Well,
factors,
I think
it's
too,
being propped up, right?
It's again, it goes back to mindset, and the mindset is that these stimulus packages are, it's how the media is portraying them, right? That things are going to be okay. So, I mean, again, you can't predict the market. Who could have predicted how the market recovered, how fast it recovered?
It did very well.
Well, it's at an all-time high.
Yeah. And so it's a matter of understanding that it's how the perception is, and the fact that there are stimulus packages are what is key. And also typically with the presidential change, it's again that mindset that things are going to be different, regardless of whether you think they're good or bad, different. And I think that
But
can
it's
be
really
exciting to people.
In reality, though, it's just Tuesday or Wednesday, and then tomorrow's Thursday.
Exactly.
Right.
100%, which is why again it's time in the market.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to note that, again, talking about the fact that the stock market is ultimately a good investment for the long term, because if you were to have, so in 2008, when the market, took its tumble, that bottom is still where that was. Like, we are still, when the market went down in March, it's still so much, the gap, you would have, none of that was a loss. Like, had you know what I mean? The market was like up way more in March, like the peak, than when it was, it over time energetically goes up. You just have to be in it over time.
Right.
You're saying the bottom is relative to the previous bottom, so it's always a new bottom. So
yeah,
March 2020 is nothing compared to
the bottom in 2008, and the bottom in
1920.
Yeah,
right.
it's still higher.
It's
than
constantly
the peak.
doing this the whole time.
Constantly going up.
Yeah.
So it's why there was some statistic I read recently, and it was like, if you're in the market for only a year, then you're going to have a greater chance of loss. But once you got to that 20-year mark of being in the market, invested in the market, your chance of overall loss was lower, because again, you're in there for that long haul. So
You're playing with house money at that point.
yeah.
I mean, you've already made so much money off of the slow increase that even a 30% decrease, you're still up from what you put in.
Exactly.
So how do you get millennials to be, first question, I guess, is, are millennials investing so the 20 to 30 year age range now, are they investing more than that same age range 20, 30 years ago?
Your parents.
And if not, how do we get them to do it more and start early? Because you said starting early is the key thing.
Yeah, I think actually millennials are they're a little more risky than we were back in the day, right? Because they're in the technology age, and they're doing more exciting things.
I think it's more front and center too, though, right? Like, they have it on their apps, and I couldn't even read. I still can't read the
You'd have to get the paper,
right?
Like once a day, and see how it went. Yeah. So I think millennials, the people that are really doing the investing are more our age. They're the people that have gotten the house, gotten the family, and they've started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're like, oh shit, do I have enough? Am I going to be all right? Like, it's all about safety,
right?
And so millennials.
I got this extra now. I've hit the age where my kids are out. I don't have the bills.
Well, you're in your peak earning years from 30 to 50.
Yeah, and I love that you said extra, right? So that you're not spending it, you're saving it.
Yep.
But so there are several. I think the millennials are doing a good job, but the target hits when it's more our age, and that's when people. Really
I spend every bit of my money from. If I get paid on Friday, like on Sunday.
Gone.
No, not Sunday. That Thursday before, I make sure there's 50 cents left in my bank account. So it's at 12 o'clock, so when it hits, I call it a refresher. It's you get refreshed a little bit.
Jay doesn't live paycheck to paycheck. He lives paycheck to Monday.
Yeah, so it's all expendable. My kids don't need to do anything. Look, seriously, learn on your own like I did. Get out of here.
You get your quarter and move on.
Yeah, go make your own money.
How old are your kids?
Fine. My kids are 10 and 6. Be 7 next month. And I do not do that. I'm just kidding.
I know you don't.
That is a.
But there are people that do that.
Of course, and here's the problem. Here's the thing. There's so much bad shit that can happen, man. There's so much bad shit that can happen if you don't have the extra. then you can't fix your air conditioner, or you can't look. So both of my kids are in competitive gymnastics, so it's and it's not. I'm not going to call it a money pit because they're learning lifelong lessons, skills, responsibility. They're in shape, commitment. A lot of stuff, and they're in competitive. So they're my 10-year-old does 20 hours a week of practice.
Oh my gosh!
I know adults that don't work that much. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to say, because I never know when that other $1,000 bill for gymnastics is not going to come in. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think too, you're investing in their future, but you also are aware that is a nice to have, right? Like, so if there were something drastic and you weren't able to do that,
it's discretionary.
It's discretionary, but there are people that can't do anything discretionary, and that's a bummer.
That does suck.
It does suck. And I think it can be, feel very defeated, but there is a way. And I think you have to look at that. We keep saying this, it's kind of a broken record, but it goes back to mindset. Are you an abundance mindset or are you a scarcity mindset? Like, I'll never have it, and when you speak that out there, that's energetically what kind of happens with you. So
Chris says it all the time. Speak it into existence is what he says.
It is really true.
And they do. When I said if the reps say something or Amanda, the operations people say something negative because you're speaking this into existence right now, don't do it,
And I think even for people that don't have, as my grandmother used to say, 2 nickels to rub together, I think you still
wooden
have to,
nickels.
Yeah. You still have to live your life in gratitude because when you live your life with like your fist closed tightly and you're not willing to give, whether it is, and we all have something to give, even if it's time, prayer, your talent, like you don't have to have wealth or treasure to give. But if you're living your life with your fist super closed, they're not open to receive. So you have to sort of open and give and, want better for the world and yourself in order to be aligned with receiving better for yourself and recognizing that you don't have to have money to be able to give something back to the world.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, time is a lot of times more valuable than the dollar.
100%. And I think it also makes you
But
realize,
you need both. You need both the time and the money.
You do need both. But I think when you give back, and you volunteer and you help, you realize that you're not as bad necessarily, right? Like, or you know what I mean? It sort of puts it in perspective.
Well, Amy, your brain is more open than to receive because you just gave.
100, yes.
And yes, you're speaking that into existence then.
And I think
you're doing the opposite.
Don't talk about that enough. Like where you have to live your life being open to receiving and at the same time open to giving because it's an energy flow, right? It is a cycle. It comes and goes. So aligning yourself with an abundance mindset and the gratitude and the willingness to share what it is that you have.
For sure.
Elevates you and everyone around you.
Absolutely. Since I noticed something on this that I just now kind of piqued my interest, but it was do you know that usually whoever comes in first, they leave the best for last, right? So it's like, when you're introducing, when you're introducing, Rolling Stone doesn't come in there and open for the opening band, it's opposite when you're announcing the 5 starters on a basketball team, the person that's going to get the largest yells goes last, and Michael Jordan comes last.
Bailey Cooper.
That's right. But Biden went first, and then Harris went next. So it should have been the opposite, right?
I don't know where were they going into the
White House?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even though
I didn't see it.
No, but not in that sense, right? Because he's kind of the head of the house. In the sense,
she doesn't live there though, so.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. Funny story, actually. The night I met my husband, we took a wrong turn into the vice president's home and had to get the Secret Service to tell us how to go, where I was headed. Yeah.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
that is cool.
Is it like across the street?
No, it's not.
It's down the street. It's a little ways away.
It's a little bit away. Yeah, because we met actually at a bar right by the White House, and so I was trying to get to a particular bridge.
Old school Tinder. The bar.
That's right. That's
true
right.
Story. No swiping.
Old school Tinder.
That's true.
Yeah. The stool left. Stool right. Oh, that's a good name for a dating site. Stool
left.
Stool left and stool right.
Except for those ages would be like, huh?
Maybe they might not still know what a bar stool right, bar stool left, because you can't say stool because
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah, I
'cause
was gonna
then
say
it's
stool. Yeah.
yeah.
Dual
But you do
meaning.
get a lot of shit on that too, don't you?
Yeah.
Like that's stool right,
Yeah.
bar stool left.
bar stool. You got to put that in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Clears it up.
Also, you need to be optimistic about that too. Coming back right where we were is like, hey, you got to be optimistic about what you're going to get in life with your wife and your companion too. You can't just pick anything you got. Like, hey, I want that one. I want that one.
You got to
Can't
have
do
a
that.
little more discernment. When it
Yeah,
comes
mine
to,
was a college education. I wanted my wife to have a college education. I got her
How did you meet her?
at a bar.
How did you meet yours?
Online.
Nice.
Plenty of fish.
Yep. Nope.
Match.
Match. Yeah.
That's right.
The OG. Wasn't Match like the...
way back in the day. Yeah.
Wasn't the beginning of like that online dating?
Oh, I was an innovator. I was doing online dating in the 90s before it was even a thing.
Is that with email? Like,
Yeah, that's right.
AOL and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the whatever the
I was in the original chat room.
the chat rooms. Yeah, the
that's
chat
right.
rooms.
yeah.
I know a guy that did meet a girl on a chat line in the late 90s. And it was I don't even know what kind of chat
got
room
married?
it is. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
I have friends that hired a matchmaker in the late 90s, like, and paid like $1,000, which was really expensive back then, to get 5 dates with a particularly matched.
We had a client that did that.
Yeah, we did.
That did that. And
we
she was
sure
local
did.
too.
Yeah.
She
She
local.
also did your like hand numbers and stuff, and did all kinds of weird like witchcraft and stuff. She was into all kinds of things. You can't say her name now because I just made fun of her.
I wonder what her
She can't.
success rate was.
Not good because she isn't in business anymore. I don't think
I
she
don't
is.
know. I don't know.
Or she just takes checks.
You don't need
Cash
one
only.
good testimony to stay in business.
That's right.
She had none.
Yeah,
God.
matchmakers were the thing because
Pretty expensive.
yeah.
It was back in the day,
Yeah,
too.
it still is. I think.
Well, there was a show for a minute, the matchmaker, Millionaire Matchmaker or whatever. I watched that a few times. It's pretty.
Wasn't
pretty
that kind
awesome.
of what The Bachelor and Bachelorette are?
For sure. For sure. Do you watch that?
No.
There's a lot of people that do though. I do not. I don't watch hardly any reality show.
don't
I think
either.
the death of America.
Well, I think
It's
they're
reality
scripted.
shows.
I'm so jaded. I feel like the news is scripted. I feel like reality TV is all scripted. I feel like social
You
media
feel right.
is scripted.
You feel right. That's exactly what's happening.
know.
I mean, really, in essence, this is the same thing as reality TV show, right?
Yeah, I
You
guess
are
that's
lying right now. I can tell.
the news, the OG reality
Yeah.
TV. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there was a big time law that got changed where they could only X amount of people could, or X amount of their program had to be reality. I think that was a Cheney thing.
Oh, like the
Cheney
networks?
law. Yeah. They don't have to. All they have to do is come back with a revision, within 3 weeks, and it can be buried on the, the asterisk at the bottom.
Again, so is it really reality TV if there's
yeah.
a quota and then they have to get them made?
Yeah.
No, I don't buy it. I mean, it's entertainment for sure, and if you're into that, you do.
It's
you,
just
boo.
a show with bad actors. That's all it is. It's just a
Yeah, but
show
they pay
with non-professionals.
everybody that pumps it up, and their promotion is completely free. It's called idiots on Facebook that want to talk about it.
Sure.
Bachelor
Right?
and
They get
Bachelorette
free-
get a
Yeah.
lot of.
No, the networks make a ton of money on reality show because they don't have to pay that. The people on the show make almost nothing, and they don't have to pay like
I'm talking about actual news.
Real. Oh, you're talking about the news.
Yes.
outlets.
Or like people
Yeah.
who have the polls like for the finales, like there's whole websites like devoted to all of that. So
There's money
good for the
everywhere
good-
in there.
that's part of the greatest thing about being in America, right? Is you can make money out of thin air.
You can.
You can
I tell my guys, we conjure money out of thin air here.
proved.
Conjure
Yes, you
money.
do.
Yes, we do. We do. And this right here is a cost right now. So we're hoping to make money
Yeah,
off
how are
this
you
at
gonna?
some point.
Yeah, how are you gonna?
Well, actually, we
Make
were
it a
going to
profit
talk.
center.
We were going to talk to you after we got off the air. We didn't want to do it on air, but what we needed is for you to write us a check, and it can.
Am
be,
I gonna get a sticker on the
It
table?
can, no, it can be. We'll give you. We'll sign a 1099. For you an I-9, right? That's what you sign.
Sure.
Get a 1099 back. We'll sign that for you. You give us $1 million, and we'll be profitable immediately.
Wow.
It's a
Just
good deal
like
for
that.
you.
It is. Sounds
It's a
like
good deal
it.
for you.
Yeah, definitely doesn't sound like any risk at all.
No,
I
it
love
will not
that.
be. Will not be.
love
We'll
that.
put it in a high yield stock for you that will make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think it's good.
Yeah, let's.
I think it's
Deal.
good. I think it's good. I don't know. There's a lot of ways. We got Bailey that's helping out there. We're hiring a full-time editor producer. He'll start in 2 weeks, February 1st. Actually, not in
Engineer.
2 weeks. Engineer. We're coming up with a name for him.
We're
Tristan.
we're playing with titles.
He'll be editing this. So props, Tristan. You're now an engineer, editor, producer.
Right.
So we're hiring that guy. We've got a lot of podcasts in the hole. We've already done a lot of them, much less in the hole that are waiting in line to do one like you. And we got probably, 30, 40 hours worth that haven't been put out there. So you can make money off clicks.
Yes.
You can make money off sponsorship. You can make money off of ads.
Absolutely.
Through those outlets. We can do in-house sponsorships as well. But we're really, if we make zero money off of this,
It's still fun.
well, first off, yes, it's still fun, but we want to make money off of it. We're capitalists, right? So, just to bring businesses in here to do a podcast with them, they put it on theirs, and then they become a client of ours. It really lets our salespeople fill up their pipeline, and we're not, charging for it.
Everybody loves some press.
Yeah.
But it's also part of it too is that open-handed approach that you're talking about, where if I can meet someone else later, make a connection there that benefits them, and even if I don't get anything out of that connection, if they get something, I'm putting that positive energy out there, and so that's that abundant mindset that you talk about. So that's a big part of it too.
If we give a really good podcast to somebody and give them an edited version of it and go, hey, put it on yours, it's helping us out. But also that's a future client of ours that's actually doing the podcast.
Well, and I do a lot of networking when you talked about that, but I always tell people, because I am the money and finance chapter director of a national What Women Want networking group. And
What now?
It's What Women Want networking.
Okay.
So it's a national group, and I'm the money and finance chapter director.
Nice. Write a check out of that one. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And so what I always tell people, I'm like, you're not looking for clients, you're looking for connection and collaboration. If you're going networking looking for clients, that energy is not
feels
what you're bringing.
forced.
It does. But when you're going to make connections, to make collaborations, because you may or may not be my ideal client, but you're going to know someone. And then if you and I are connecting and, you realize that, oh, this is a stand-up person, then that's when you're like, oh, well, let me recommend. So I don't feel like anyone should go into the scene looking for clients.
No, that's bad look.
But ultimately, they come back to you when you're putting good out there, and when you're elevating.
Or they'll
the
give you a
people
really
around
good
you.
referral out of
Absolutely.
Stuff
out of
comes
nowhere.
From, things happen when you least expect it. You don't know where things are going to come from a lot of times. It's the best deals we've ever gotten were just randomly off of Facebook. Somebody says something, or someone you meet at the grocery store. You just never know.
I think it's knowing that you put good work out there and knowing that they're going to be there. You just don't worry about the how.
But that's a training thing too, is recognizing that when you hear it, to know that that's an opportunity for you. When somebody else is putting it out in the ether and putting it out and talking about it, they don't realize that is, but you have to go and ask for it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we would love to meet that person, not sign them up.
Well, it's aligned action, right?
Yes.
Like it's a step to get there, but it's not like,
But for my guys, they might not hear that and equate that to money. But when they walk in here day one, I go, you have in your network right now, in your Facebook, in your Instagram, in your family, at your church, where you have $1 million worth of processing, which equates to about $3,000 to $4,000 a month in
fees,
in actual volume, or actually a profit for you or the company right now, and you haven't even done it at all, and that's very low. You could probably have $5 or $6 million worth of credit card processing volume, not profit, obviously, but that could turn into $10,000 a month in residuals.
Hells yeah,
and it's.
I love some residual too.
It's
All
just
you gotta do is open your mouth
yeah.
and talk and say, hey, I do this now.
But I think you have to love what you do and believe in what you do as well. Like I couldn't go sell insurance products, and
It's so exciting though,
there's
right?
a lot of people that do, but I know better than to think that an annuity is what somebody in their 20s needs or whatever. And so I love what I do. I love working with people. I love educating them on their finances. I not only talk the talk, I walk the walk. This is how I live my life. And so I think when you believe in what you do, you believe in your service, you believe in how you treat a customer and how you know everyone in your team is going to treat that customer, then that's when sort of you're just living what you do, not really doing. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do.
Whatever
People
the word
can
is.
when you meet someone and you come across that way, they sense the authenticity.
Yeah,
Every time somebody says annuity, that J.G. Wentworth song pops in my head. J.G. Wentworth. What's it go? Give me my money right now? Or
What do? They buy.
Oh,
the,
man,
they buy the.
and that's not to slam
You can't do
anybody that
J.G.
does
Wentworth
that, but-
commercials on the podcast with the financial advisor.
No, J.G. Wentworth is not a financial advisor. They buy annuities and
settlements and stuff.
and settlements.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, me and Chris were at a place where we could see this in person, and he didn't really know who J.G. Wentworth is. And I looked at him and was like, hey, watch this. He was like,
They're about to get got.
yeah, I was like, they're about to get got. And he goes, we were actually eating lunch with my dad, which is an attorney, and we went to court with him. And he goes, and that was who was up in front of the judge next. And I go, watch this. I was like, watch this. And he goes, what is this? I was like, like those most aggressive loans that you've ever seen in your life? And he was like, no. I go, watch this. It's like, so you have an annuity or a settlement for $120,000. And they have to, this is how aggressive this is. They have to go in front of a judge in the state of Georgia. I don't know how every state is, but in front of a judge. And the judge has to go, are you sure that you want to do this? That is aggressive. If you have to go through
to actually write the loan,
Yes.
actually for them to do the settlement and take it over.
And take it over. You have to go from, and the first one was $120,000 and they got $35,000.
It was nasty. It was super nasty.
But the second one was, because the first one was $120,000 over 10 years, okay, and the guy was getting $35,000. The second one was like $80,000 over 3 for $25,000.
it was a really short time frame.
For $25,000.
It was way worse.
And the judge did this. Okay, this is a fact. This happened. I wish I could
tried
have
to talk
recorded
him out of it.
The judge goes, okay, so he goes, I kind of understood the guy that went. You saw the one that went before you, right? So the guy that's beside him works for J.G. Wentworth. Okay, so he wants this to go through, right?
Yeah, he wants his money.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the other person has the settlement or the annuity, and they're giving this over for a lump sum, right? And the judge goes, I understood the first one because that was over 10 years, right? I can get on board with that. And he goes, this is $80,000 over 3 years.
I think it was like 2. The amount this person got
Made no sense.
was
It was so
barely.
bad.
It was barely more than they would get in like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
It was so bad. And he goes, and the judge and then the guy that for JG was like, tell him what you can do with the money. Tell him what you can do with the money. Because it was totally rehearsed.
Totally
She goes,
hyped them up.
Yeah, and the girl goes, I'm going to pay bills off, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And he goes, see, judge?
She's
And the
gonna
judge
go to
wasn't
school.
having it.
Yeah.
The judge was like, oh, yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
to
go
school.
back to school.
Pay tuition and
yeah.
that. And the judge goes, oh, are you sure you want to do this? Okay, because... And
He made her say yes like 4 times.
And he laid it out. He goes, because you're going to get this amount just in this amount of time if you do this. And you could tell the guy from JD was like, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Stop trying to talk her out of it.
Stop it. And then he goes, okay. And then he goes, are you sure? He said it one last time. The judge said it one last time. And the girl goes, yes. And he was like, I don't want you to come back and be mad at me in 3 years when you do this. He said these words.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's not to. I don't mean to put negative out in the world, right? Like
Right.
there's
That's
a small
pretty negative, dude.
There's a small population.
There's some people who could benefit from that type of service.
There are some
like if
people,
your
right.
situation warranted it,
Exactly.
the service has a value.
Absolutely,
But in a lot of cases,
but
it's predatory.
An across the board
Yeah.
situation is they're generally not.
Right.
Well, I mean, again, okay.
It's comical though. I mean,
so
I'm not even talking about
the-
Jay Wentworth.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just in general.
Yes.
Like the
well,
whole
like
annuity,
things like
universal, all of that.
reverse mortgages, and there's lots of different products that do that
if you
sort
were
of thing.
there,
Well, reverse mortgages are great in some situations
if you're,
too.
if you're a senior and you don't have, there's situations for all of that. But I think to across the board assume that works for the whole population, it doesn't. We kind of joke like
Ethics
in our
matter.
business, there's really only like 5% of the population that's good for us because 90% have no money.
Yep.
And 5% have way too much.
Right.
That they're going to go with a different level of of service and need.
Yeah.
But if I gave you $35,000, could you make it $100,000 in 10 years?
Your money doubles, so I can't make promises.
But
you know
what?
that. But
No,
I
no,
was-
I'm talking about
but
just the history of 40 years in the stock market, would it
Not
be
you,
$100
but
grand?
could someone do that?
Could someone? Oh,
Right.
could someone? Of course they could.
So the 10-year getting 35 instead of 135 makes more sense than the 80 on 20 grand in 3 years.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's just predatory.
Yes,
You're
it
right.
definitely is.
Yeah.
I was like,
But
and
again, people.
Chris was like,
put themselves
Don't take
in
it.
a
Don't take it.
situation, which goes back to you haven't lost anything if you're not forced to sell.
yeah,
Right. And
Right.
so again, it's putting yourself in a situation where she's desperate enough for that money
Yeah.
that she's willing to take that huge hit.
I told my dad at lunch afterwards, like, and I told you, I was like, I should stand up and say, I'll give you 45. And Dad goes, you would have went to jail. The judge would have put you in jail. I was like, what if I go to the bathroom afterwards and go, hey, I'll give you 45 if you don't take that deal,
Yeah.
you know, and them go, okay, like you could be an ambulance chaser, but for J.G. Wentworth folks.
Yeah.
Just go meet them in the bathroom, like, I'll give you $10,000 more if you just, and here's a check for it. Do it. And then they go in and they go, sorry, I made a deal in the bathroom.
That
Seems
guy,
legit.
That guy wouldn't be super happy with you.
Oh, my God.
I could see some scenarios where
give you
it's a
45
good
right
thing
now.
though. Like let's say like a family member died, or like you lost your like a spouse died, or a kid
You need
died.
better
or
health
something,
care.
some major life
Always a
situation
special
changed.
circumstance
Yeah.
for any of those
Yeah, it has
things
a
where
place.
it makes sense.
Well, the reverse mortgage is awful in a lot of ways. But look, if none of the family has money and your mom has basically 10 years of life left, and that gives her 10 years of great living, it's her money anyway. She's the one that paid the house off in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, I told my mom and dad, you know, bounce your last check. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't need your money.
No,
Yeah.
bounce your last check. So there's a lot of good ways, but a lot of it is predatory. For
Right.
sure.
Yeah, we never factor inheritances into someone's financial plan, even if they think they're going to get them. Like, no, that's not how we're going to.
What about lottery winners? Do you do that? Because that's what I'm basing my whole retirement on, is winning the lottery.
I actually had one lottery winner.
Did you? Good for them.
That's a great client.
You know what you have to do
They
to win
didn't
the
become a client because what happened was they wanted to talk to me, right? And so we have a conversation, but in the end it was, well, I'm going to get a house in Florida.
I really want the Ferrari.
And and what typically
He didn't listen.
Typically the lottery is played by people who are seeking, wealth in a non-traditional way because they maybe don't have it in the traditional way. So for
I was about
them,
to tell you, what you have to do to win the lottery? Play it.
yeah.
And I don't ever. I buy one ticket a year.
But most people will do like a scratch off, or it's more
Right.
like 500 to $1 million, and their eyes are so big, like they think that's so much money, and that's like more money than they've ever had. And what's hard is that unless you put that money away and make it work for you, it's not going to be there.
$1 million is nothing in 2021.
It really isn't.
If you're 30 years old, you're not going to be able to live off $1 million the rest of your life.
No, unless you invest it. Now, if you invested it, you could
Even
get
at
yourself
that,
close.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's still close.
You'd
That's
still
what
have
I'm
to
saying.
work. You'd have to
Yeah.
work, but that money could work for you. And
But you can't go on vacations and buy the car and do all that too for $1 million.
No.
It sounds like a lot, but it's not.
it goes fast.
If you got 2 girls in gymnastics, there goes a quarter of it.
They're good. Yeah, right.
I did talk. So I have a client, or we have a client in Savannah. What's the restaurant called?
Shell House.
Yeah, Shell House. The guy's awesome. He's an awesome dude. When I'm signing him up, I'm talking to him on the phone, and I was like, "Do you have any kids?" And we start talking. He goes, "Yeah, I have a daughter. She's a senior, and she's getting a scholarship to play softball at, I think it was Coastal Carolina. One of those. I think it was Coastal Carolina. But he goes, it's all been worth it because of the scholarship. I was like, get out of here. And he was like, no, it has. I was like, you have spent more money than any college, a Harvard on. If she's been playing softball and traveling the whole time, because by the time Bella gets to her senior year, I could have paid for any Ivy League school in the
Hands
country.
down.
In the country, 4 years, get out of here. That's how much it's going to cost.
Right.
Because I'm running right now, and it gets more
So
expensive.
you're talking about getting an athletic scholarship when you're 18.
Yeah. I'll just pay for you to go there.
Especially
if you quit right now, I'll
if you've
pay
been,
for you.
exactly.
Imagine if you'd have been investing that money all along into a
Oh my
brokerage.
God, you're speaking my love
See?
language.
Oh.
Yes,
Now,
this is so
ooh,
good.
you could put the whole
Well, I like
neighborhood
you.
through Harvard.
I'm into it. Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Could. So that's why I started laughing. I was like, but we don't do it for that. We do it for a well-rounded individual, somebody that's going to be a great in society. It's going to give back. It's going to have open hands.
I love
And that's
that.
what that stuff teaches.
my
It
kids
teaches
all
that,
played
but
sports for
I think
sure.
I think Right now, it's running me about $10,000 or $15,000 a year with the 2 girls, but it gets more expensive as the older they get. And I'm talking about traveling and everything. I'm talking about the hotels, all in.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's more than what does a Harvard education cost 4 years? You think it's $200,000?
No, I think Harvard's
more
because we visited there. We didn't apply, but I think it was
your son.
My oldest.
Oh,
we
he's
visited
smart.
there.
Then,
yeah, he's kind of smart, but he's at UGA.
Yeah.
You know why?
It's the Harvard of the South.
It's because we are so blessed here in Georgia. And if your kid qualifies for the Zell Miller, which is 100% tuition, it's really hard to say, oh, sure, let me go spend. Because Harvard, I think, is in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, 73.
Yeah.
$73,000 a year?
Yeah, Princeton was like 72.
So it's what, right at 300?
Zell Miller's where it's at, though.
That's right.
Zell Miller.
So it's 4.0.
Do you remember,
4.0
have
to
you
get full ride now?
To get to Zell?
To get the full in-state, the Hope Scholarship?
No, it's like a 3.9 and I think a 1,200 or higher on your SAT. I don't know what the ACT is.
Okay.
I think that's an unweighted. So you have to be damn close to a 4.0.
Right.
Did you live here when Zell Miller was the governor?
I moved here in 99.
No, you didn't then.
Okay.
I don't think so. But his opponent, I always think is Zell Miller because Dad was actually a good friend of Zell Miller, but his opponent went on the political thing, called him Zigzag Zell. I just remember that. Oh, Zigzag Zell, because he was like a Republican, then a Democrat or whatever. I just remember that was his opponent saying it against him. That goes a long way. How full was your mailbox for the last 2 months?
Oh my gosh. Or I have a home phone still, mostly because I'm too lazy to get rid of it, and it's like wrapped into like internet and cable.
Yeah.
And how many phone calls did I get a day?
Just leave it off the hook.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Bailey and his...
Or text. I don't even know how they got my text.
Yeah, everybody's getting text. Everybody's getting text. Bailey and his crew put it up on a corkboard, and the corkboard almost fell off the wall.
Oh my gosh.
How much cardboard was on there?
And I'm the person that deals with her mail every day, so like it didn't accumulate, but I'm like, rage. And then I'm doing the math. I'm like, how much are you spending on this?
Oh yeah, that's what we thought about.
Much.
You are not swaying my vote with your mailer.
So much.
You're not.
I mean, but think about it. You had to do everything you could. Look, it was 49%.
It was crazy.
It was so close.
Both times.
Anything they could do. And all the money from Democrats and Republicans were coming here because there's no other races.
Yeah.
So it was national Democrats, national Republican, all the money, all in, Georgia, mailers, phone calls.
It was hardcore. Probably the worst.
Several texts a day.
I mean, I think it...
Nobody in America will know what that was like for us.
Right?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We took the brunt for y'all.
We sure did.
It was awful.
It was bad.
There they are.
And here we are, and it's all... Look, I love her blue, right? Her choice of color, right?
You like
the
it?
blue.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because there's a Democrat, it's her blue. So
sure.
I think it's lovely that she dressed in her blue.
Chris, you want to tell them about the party we went to in South Florida?
Yeah, so we're down in Fort Lauderdale, and we're
not political people, by the way.
I'm not either.
No, not at all.
I stay very neutral on the whole
We were
thing.
down there seeing a client.
This was a business trip, so we went down there to visit with a prospect. It was a contact we had who was going to get us a connection to a software company, and long story. But so one of the things in passing, the guy that we're meeting tells us, "Hey, I'm going to a watch party." There was some like local. Type
it was for the primaries.
It was, but it wasn't like it wasn't even like a state Congress seat. It was
it was the agriculture.
Yeah, Department of Agriculture or something. It was like something like that. So, but it was an election, and and he knew the people that were running, and they were definitely Democrats.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I completely overlooked the party connections altogether. And so we're back at the hotel. He invites us. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. So it's at some like bar or restaurant.
You got to set it up where she doesn't know, because when you were like, why is everybody looking at me weird?
Oh yeah. So we go back to the hotel. I get dressed. We get dressed, and we go. We head over to this watch party, and it's pretty crowded. I mean, it's a lot of people, and we're talking about 100, 150 people in this place. And I'm walking around, and people are just looking at me like I am insane.
Hard dog eyeing,
like,
man.
I had 3 eyes.
Yeah.
Like something was wrong with my face.
Were you wearing a Georgia red shirt?
And I was wearing the brightest red shirt you've ever seen.
He looked at me. He looked at me, and he goes, "And I luckily was wearing a blue one, not on purpose."
Right.
And he looked at me and was like, why is everybody's looking
Which
dog
text colors?
And I looked at him and I said, dude, you're wearing the Republican red shirt and a sea of blue. I was lucky that I had a blue shirt.
I swear to you, I thought that I was gonna get shivved. Like it was real. Like there was a palpable. There was like this tension. Like everybody around me.
He bought a campaign shirt and put it on top of it.
Yeah, I did. Well, I got to give it to me.
Yeah.
A hustler.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you
I didn't
look
buy
at like the
anything.
sports and like there's that one fan right in the middle of the.
So bad. It was.
But
so
it was
bad.
funny that I was like, you are wearing the brightest Republican red shirt in the middle of a Democratic blue sea.
It was rough.
I love that you weren't like thinking about it though.
I had no idea.
Well, I wasn't either. I
mean, I only took 3 shirts. We were there for like 2 days. I just
Yeah.
grabbed one of the ones I
Yeah, I wasn't either, but I thought about it when he said that. I was like, nobody's looking because
And then you're like,
I don't have any like. He has to tell me somebody hates me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't care. You know, I just got that attitude. But he was like, somebody's looking. I was like, they're looking at you weird. And I go, it's because of your red shirt, and we're at a Democrat party.
Oh man! And when he said it, I looked around, and it was so obvious. Like as soon as it's like when you know those the puzzles that those old things that you'd look at, and it was
see
like
one
there
way,
was
one
a
the
hidden
other.
image in it, and you had to like look at it a certain way, and until you could see the thing, it was like just a pattern. But then once you see it, there's like a boat in the middle of the thing. Well,
oh my gosh!
It was like once you said it, I could see the boat. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm so standing out right now.
At least there was a shirt available. Would you have gone to change?
Would I have? Oh, back to the hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. No way. I almost just leaned into it anyway, even though there were shirts available. I thought it was funny.
Well, the problem is we went there just to but we weren't going there for any political reason. We're going there to
schmooze with a client.
Well, the money's in the mingle, right? Like the money's in the mingle. The money's not in the meat. The money is afterwards when you're drinking a couple of cocktails, and you can talk freely, and you're BS, and you show your personality. That's where people want to do business with you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so cliche, but the like, no and trust. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
There's a million credit card processors.
You never
There's
heard the money in the
million-
mingle?
No, but I
like
dig
that,
it.
don't you?
I really, could you tell? I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
It is. The money's in the mingle. It always has been.
Yeah, I mean,
Since the
and
beginning
I
of
tell
time.
people that even when they're like looking for a financial person, and I'm like, you need to find who you energetically align with, because anybody can help you with your numbers. You've got to find someone that you feel trust with, and that you enjoy their company and you want to talk to, because.
But it's human nature. You're gonna look. I know that you are probably the most incredible person at your job, but if you like somebody way better, you're gonna pay attention to their account more. That's just how people are, and you probably are. We do it
Like unconsciously.
unconsciously. Yes. You don't even know you're doing it, but you like that person, and you're gonna check them out more.
That's true.
And you do it not even on purpose. It's not there's no bad intent to it. But
You're right. It's just human nature.
it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So we went there to. The reason he would have changed shirts is not to appease anybody. It was to that. Hey,
Well, she lost
we wanted to get-
she
did
lost
lose.
anyway,
She lost, yeah.
which was funny.
A lot of sad faces around there. Like, oh, you don't care? I was like, no, man, no. Bunch of people, because it's agriculture things. So these are all people wanting to get the cannabis laws passed and everything,
Yeah.
But there were suited up rich people there. There was no say
This wasn't
hippie pothead.
This was not a bunch of hippies.
no,
not at all.
No. These were
investors in the pot.
They were the donors and stuff. Yeah.
well, investors in the plant, in the whole. And when I say not the plant, the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that the laws that they put down, if you remember, that the first you're talking about going and lobbying, the first 12 licenses that were given out in Florida. You remember the what they put down is you had to have grown 4 million plants. And it could not marijuana, but tomato plants, cotton, whatever.
You had to be a legit farmer.
You already had to have done. So there was only 20 companies in the state of Florida that
qualify.
That qualified in that criteria, which all 20 companies probably lobbied for that. So one of them could 15 or 12 out of the 20 were going to get it. They probably cut a deal and said, whoever gets it, we're all going to put this in a money pile. I mean, think about it. Yes. We have a corner on growing weed in the state of Florida.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a legalized cartel, man.
That they had to have that growing.
Well, every state has come down with in that in that vertical, they come down with their different laws of who they're going to give the license to, how much money net worth they had to have.
Well, it's complicated, the regulations behind it, because it's an industry that didn't exist. So they're each state's literally making it up as they go.
And they're trying to make it legit, right? Like they want it to be on the up and up so that it's.
Well, these guys have to make it legit, or it's going to get run not legit, unlegit. Yeah. Illegitimate, whatever you're gonna say, whatever that
illegit.
Yeah, illegit to quit. It's gonna get run bad. The federal government has to change that so you can really start making money on the taxes, and that could get us out of our debt.
Yeah, like the lottery funds our scholarships.
That's right, and that's gone away a lot too. Like that used to fund a lot. You saw talking about Zell Miller, and he's the one that did the lottery. Mm-hmm. That was the governor that made it legal in the state of Georgia, but. The hope used to be better than it is today. Way better. Mm. You got more money. Now it's not as good, so you have to maybe get grants. And
were there always 2 levels? Or is that
I don't think so.
In the early days, they were not.
No. Oh, that's probably what. Then they kicked it. Maybe too many people got it.
It was 3.5 and up got it all.
Well, a lot of
when they first came out with it.
It was so. And I think some of the colleges Bailey would probably be able to speak on this because he's closer to that age, but college age, but. All the surrounding colleges of the state, like Jacksonville State University, Jacksonville University, and Jacksonville, the one in Alabama, all the small Troy, all these schools that bordered the state of Georgia waived their out-of-state tuition because that next 5 years, nobody was leaving, and they were losing tuition and students like crazy.
Well, that's why it's so difficult.
Is it still like that? They waived it?
A lot of those, you get the in-state benefit, and a lot of those Alabama and North Carolina colleges too. Like Jacksonville State, I know still acknowledges that the hope in the Zell Miller.
Well, that's why we had people come to talk to us at the school, why it is almost like Ivy League qualifications to get into a Georgia or a Georgia Tech, because no one leaves the state, because if you're able to get into there, you're going to get the scholarships.
That's right.
And so it is difficult when you're a in-state resident to become accepted to those schools. And even this year...
But imagine those little colleges getting students just sucked back out of them. They had to acknowledge that, or they were going to continue losing them.
Georgia had 39,000 applicants this year, which at $50 an application, right?
I like that money.
Right? Yeah, and that's just to say yes or no. That's not including any of the tuition.
What if we could come up with a business that they send them to us, we make sure they're correct, we charge $25 for that, and then send them to Georgia?
You would be the Common App.
Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Ah, shit, it's already been thought of.
It was a good job, though. I like where you were going with it.
Look,
you were processing.
I got plenty of them. Plenty.
A lot of the qualifications.
Bailey, how many do I have?
A good one every day. I'm not even gonna lie.
Are you a serial entrepreneur?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what's your entrepreneurial history?
Oh God, when I left that Chattahoochee Tech gig, because it was quarter, because that's a quarter system back then.
Yeah.
And when I left there, I got on Winston Cup and was the salesman to death for a couple of years. Traveled the United States selling cigarettes, and difficult sell to sell cigarettes to Winston Cup fans, by the way. If I had natural light, I'd be the man. But by the way, fun. 2 years of my life, the funnest 2 years of my life.
Traveling all over.
Over the place. Great party atmosphere, great people. Everybody's happy at those races. They're party time. They're as good as any concert I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Just a lot of fun people. I started some businesses in between 18 to 21. Completely all bombed because I wasn't ready. I could always sell, so I could get the jobs. Actually, the first company I started was a tree cutting company when I was like 18 years old. And I couldn't get the people to come work and cut the trees because I didn't have the ability to cut the trees the right way without killing myself. And when they left, because they were young too, they was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is a pretend job, And I had sold like 15 jobs, and I had them sitting there. And I called a guy that owned the tree cutting company. I was like, hey, I got 15 jobs that need to be done. Can you do them? He's like, yeah, I'll take them. And I was like, okay, that was pretty fast. Yeah, come over later. And then I called 2 other tree companies right after him. They're like, we'll give you 15%. Called 2 others. We'll give you 20% from. So I sold all those leads and made money where I didn't have to do it. So I had that entrepreneur spirit even back in the day. So I after Winston Cup, I went into a door-to-door sales job, knocked on a couple 100,000 doors, doing B2B sales, office supplies, telecom, and one of our clients was a credit card processor. It's kind of how I got introduced to credit card processing. Owned a company in Jacksonville for that marketing company, but I was the owner of the marketing. They fed me clients, the Fortune 500 clients. Well, after I found credit card processing, I was like, this is the residual income. I didn't even heard of this company. They were called First Horizon Bank.
Okay.
Have you heard of them? It's First Tennessee National Bank is who the company is. They rebranded in the early 2000s because they were going to go, national, coast to coast. It's still a huge bank in Tennessee. I don't know how national they got, but they wanted us to sell credit card processing for them. And the managers made more money off that sell than Bell South, Staples, Office Supplies, UPS, any of the clients that we sold for B2B, that paid more. It's like, why? How can that be? So when I looked into it, it was the residual income. They were getting paid forever off these clients, or as long as they were with them.
Right.
So I packed it up, moved back to Atlanta, worked for a really, really large ISO under Bank of America for 1 year. That's where I met Chris. He came and it was his introduction to credit card processing too. I was probably maybe 7 months ahead of him in the credit card processing world. And we went and worked for another company, and then I started building my book on the side while I was working for these other companies. Chris ended up going into the operations side of the business, and in there I owned a roofing company with a friend.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
I sold that because I really despise homeowners. They're a lot more needy than business owners. Look, there's some, like in businesses, I can have a rational conversation with a business.
Well,
And,
they get it, right?
Yeah,
They get it.
That's right. Well, I screwed up or you screwed up or it was the system that something happened. I can have that conversation. I can take the blame or I can go, hey, it was your fault and here's why. And there can be some, harsh words, but usually they don't leave and we take care of it and we have good customer service. We retain the account. But it's a rational conversation. Some of the homeowners is not a rational conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, you broke my mailbox. I'm like, no, I didn't. Well, you owe me this much money. I was like, why?
Because they see you as a deep pocket.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
So, I actually sold my half of that company after a year and a half to my partner. I was like, I'm going back. Well, I didn't ever leave credit card processing. Basically, what I was doing is I was building my book of business from 9 to 6 normal, and I was doing roofing from 7 a.m. to 9 and then 6 p.m. till 9.
Did you door knock?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, roofing sales were easy. Compared to credit card process, man, I could sell 5 or 6 roofs on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It was so easy. You got a damaged roof. I'm going to get an insurance company out here to look at. Let's get out of here. But the credit card processing sale is as invasive as your sale. You have to know it's almost the only difference was yours is harder is I've got to actually get your money and put it in here that you don't necessarily have access to right now, which is harder. But we have to know their social. We have to know their bank accounts. We have to know their credit card processing accounts. We really have a blueprint of their business then. So it's a little bit more invasive of a sell. Mm-hmm.
How long have y'all been around?
MP Group started in 2013, January. Merchant Processing Group is what I started 3 years before that.
Is that what MP stands for?
Well, Merchant Processing Group is a company that I had before. When Chris came on, we rebranded MP Group, and it was a totally different book of business. And it was the business that I always wanted is you can only do so much by yourself.
Yeah,
you just can't.
It's a team sport.
I was losing before Chris came. I was losing as many clients as I was gaining a month
because you didn't have the bandwidth to service everybody.
No, and I could continue signing people up. That was the easy thing for me. It was the customer service and the retention was harder for me. Mm-hmm. And he was still is really, really good at that. So
are you still like hardcore sales?
I told what me and Bailey talked about this the other day with Tristan. I was like, look, no, I don't do door-to-door sales anymore. In fact, we really have pulled them away from doing a lot of door-to-door sales because we still want them to do it. It's the foundation of something that you can never. There's always another door. These gimmicks and everything, they run out. So there's always another door. There's always somebody else to talk to. But lighting your hair on fire and running down Main Street and knocking on doors, there's an age limit to that.
Yeah.
And I get fed up and I'm done with this negativity all the time because you are like a dentist. You are
I've door knocked for
inflicting
401ks,
pain
like gone to
on yourself.
businesses and talked to them about putting in
people out there.
a 401k. And
Yeah.
you kind of got to psych yourself up. You're like, all right,
Yep.
most people don't know it exists, so you're just coming in, smiling, giving the information, but
Yep.
it's more no's than yeses.
But me and Chris, that all those door knockings that we did and everything we did has
You got the
got us
now.
ready. It got us ready for anything that really happened that was serious in this company that was not good or negative, or maybe we caused it. Maybe it was the environment that caused. Maybe it was the economy. Maybe the next door neighbors, the house burnt down and we couldn't go to work for a week. Well, when you deal with all the adversity of door knocking, you condition yourself for those things in the future. So, but me and Chris, we own a few companies now. So MP Group, we own a piece of a couple of different softwares. We're trying to get into the software game a lot with the integration of payments, and we're really trying to get our business portfolio, broaden. I mean, you sell for a certain multiplier, right? But if you add technology, it doubles that multiplier.
Absolutely.
So that's really where I think that our brain is right now is really kind of gobbling up pieces of small software and then helping them grow. And, it takes actually one of the guys that we work with called me when we were talking. He owns a ride sharing and delivery software in rural towns of Mississippi and Louisiana. So we're dealing with people like that are young entrepreneurs that, millennials they're not lazy, man.
No, they're
A
not.
lot of people think they have this idea of millennials, and I'm like,
they have an
they're
entrepreneurial
entrepreneur.
spirit,
Yeah.
100%, because they
sure.
don't want the corporate 9-to-5 bullshit that they think that
And
their
they don't have to have
parents
it. And they don't have to have it.
Yeah.
There is another way to do it.
What about you?
What about me? What's my story?
Yeah. Like,
What's your dog's name, Washington?
were you always an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I was, running car washes and, lemonade stands and anything else you can think of as a kid. So, I mean, I definitely had that itch from an early age. So yeah, I mean, I think I was always that kid talking to the person behind me in the line at the grocery store and embarrassing my parents and and talking to strangers everywhere. So I mean, that was an easy thing. So yeah, I would say so. I mean, he told probably half of my story. I mean, that's a lot of it. A lot of it's mixed in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think when I started in banking. When I was still in Athens, and when I came back, it was when I moved back to Atlanta, it was the very first job I got was at the marketing firm that we both worked for. So yeah, I mean, I got introduced, I got thrown into the fire. I mean, you're talking 12-hour days, feet on the street, selling, knocking on doors all day. So I mean, it's real. It teaches you to be resilient, and it forces you to either figure out how to come up with solutions quickly on the fly, or go find something else to do.
It's resilience.
That decision has to be made.
Resilience for sure.
It's a
You
firm
learn a
decision.
lot.
Well, I think when we left PAI in 06, is 07?
07 maybe?
Yeah. We had started talking about starting on ISO at that point, which we probably weren't ready to do that at that point, even though we probably could have made it up with just our raw sales ability. Yeah. Our retention would have been awful.
Yeah. Well,
it would have been really bad. So that was 7 years in the making before we started that company.
I needed that experience. So when he stayed in sales the majority of it and did other things,
of it, yeah.
but I went corporate for like 5-6 years, and I really needed that experience. I needed to learn that stuff.
We needed
to come over and do the things here. So I wouldn't have been able to do half of what I do now without having seen all those things.
Yeah, well, he's all the way around the circle. So he did the sales and then went deployment and programming the machines and everything, putting them together, and then you did a little relationship management. You were on that team for a couple of years. Talked to ISOs. That you're part of that.
Yeah, I moved to China for 3 years.
Right, yeah.
That was a fun time.
Yes.
For real?
He was there. He was there in November of 2019.
That's right.
Yeah.
When we trace it back.
Yeah, I was patient zero.
My daughter the other day said, my mom, Allison, my wife goes, why is it called COVID-19? And my daughter goes, because it started in 2019. And my wife goes, it did not. And she goes, yeah, it started in, my 10-year-old, it started in 2019. And she looked at me and was like, Jay, tell her. I was like, started in 2019. She was like, no, it didn't. It was March. I go, in China, that's when it was 2019. She was like,
These damn kids are so smart.
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But
Have you had the Rona?
no.
Not yet.
I say that like, no, I can't get it. No, I haven't.
I've probably had it a few times.
I definitely haven't. I got the blood test, and they were like, "You have not had it, so you're still at risk." So.
I was a little sickly for a couple of days.
You had it?
Back in
I did in December.
Ways back.
Did it get you?
It not with like the scary stuff, like the chest. I didn't have any chest
That flu
issues.
issue, kind of.
It was more at first. I'm like, I don't, something's off. Like you're just like you kind of feel like
You got it
achy.
early on, then, huh?
In December, mid-December.
Yeah.
Just
Of 2020.
yeah, like a month ago. Yeah.
Oh,
You said early. That's not early.
well, I thought
that's like a month ago.
2019 December, like
No,
right when
so
it.
just
nobody here had
just
it
a
in
month
December
ago.
of 2019.
Yeah, and so it just kind of wore me out. I
Patient
think that's
zero.
what I wasn't. Yeah, that was me. No, that I was shocked at. Like, and losing your taste and smell is so weird when you can like take a full breath and put like Vicks vapor rub under your nose and smell nothing.
So you did lose the smell.
I did. It came. It's back.
Yeah.
It took I don't know, probably 3 weeks or more. I mean, it wasn't immediate. Like you feel better before your taste and smell come back.
But it was
Bailey's sense of smell went away. He went and huffed gas to see if he could smell the gas.
Just tried it.
For like 10 minutes. He was huffing it, passed out, started slobbering out of the mouth. And they were like, Corona got him. I was like, I think it was the gasoline.
Could be. Yeah.
So is it completely? I mean, like you could literally take like the most like potent
No,
smell.
I'm not kidding. Like,
and
I
like it
can-
was like it wasn't
Like
there.
I held because my husband was like, "Try this," and so I just held it under my nose, like Vicks vapor rub, and you're not congested, so you're just nothing.
Nothing. Just those nerves are just not
Nothing.
turned
Did you
on.
get it back? Did you ever get back to 100%?
I would say yes. Like if my daughter peels an orange, I can smell it across the kitchen, or like you know, like little
I can't
things.
do that now.
I feel like I have less than half of my taste and smell still.
I feel like my taste is still a little quirky. Like sometimes you'll put something in your mouth and you're like, oh my God, that's so salty. Or it's got like a weird, like, it's supposed to taste like something because you've eaten it your whole life, but it has like a different,
It's not quite the same.
it's not the same.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a weird,
It is a weird one.
yeah. 10 out of 10.
I don't know, man.
recommend.
I sat next to when Bailey got it. We had come back in from Pensacola, and it was the next Saturday was the fight
Because you had it right before me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we interviewed Roy Jones Jr. down at his thing before the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight, and then we came back the next week, and all of us that went down there did it. We had a party at our house watching the fight, and he sat next to me for 4 hours. I mean, really close to me, and we were.
And then got a positive test like 2 days later.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
Monday. Yeah.
You were sick on Monday, got it on Tuesday. I went and took a test on Wednesday, negative.
Yeah.
Like hardcore you are.
Huh?
Hardcore immune.
Maybe. I mean, I don't look healthy, do I?
Sure you do.
I think I just got heart and soul, you know?
Yeah.
Bailey, you got to grow heart and soul, man. You know? Maybe you won't get corona. Look, I'm claiming
Did you
that
figure
right
it
now,
out?
just like Al Roker. I
cracked the code.
told him he was going to give the pound to President Joe Biden. If you can have a lot of heart and soul, you will not get corona.
I
All right.
disagree.
Well, yeah.
It's
mean,
science. It's science.
I respect your belief.
Can't argue that.
But claim it for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm putting it on Facebook. It'll be true.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It was good having you.
Thank you
We
so
went
much.
a long time and it was easy.
Oh.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, it was easy. Thank you
I
guys
think
so
we
much.
went probably 1 hour 45 minutes. Probably.
2 hours.
Yeah. So that's good. Thank you.
Good. Absolutely.
for coming in. We'll
Thank
do it
you for
again.
having me.
We'll do
It's
part
fun
2.
to be
Tell
in
people how to
person.
find you before you leave.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So what 3 W's?
It's
You guys
3
know what
Ws.
you're doing. Yeah, ircwealth.com. That's our website. I spend a lot of time on Instagram, Amy W. Getz, Getz Finance.
Awesome name.
I'm on LinkedIn as well, Amy Getz. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm happy to connect with anyone. I'm always happy to answer questions.
Who's
right?
your retirement client? I love saying that.
What do you mean?
So when I do a one-to-one, I go,
The whale. Who's the whale?
Who's your? I say this. I go, who's your bill pay client? Who's your vacation client?
I think you've heard
who's
me
your
say
retirement
this in
client?
Master Networks before.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Honestly,
Al Roker.
Al Roker could
Yeah,
be.
right.
it would be more female for me, right? It would be for me some of these online entrepreneurs, because I happen to be in that space. Like some of them are just making multiple 7 figures. And if I could sort of crack that code and get in with that circle and have them understand like the value of what we could provide, because it's, people travel in packs. Right?
Sure.
So if you could
Birds of a feather, right?
right, if you could just get a couple of them to really, the online entrepreneurs, like they, to understand how well your service is and what you can offer them and how it benefits them, and then they share, then that's sort of the life-changing,
Sure.
I think, maker for me.
What's a perfect referral client? She helped me out, and this is how she helped me out, and then okay, well, give me her number.
Yeah, so I love working with entrepreneurs because they don't always know what's available to them. I especially love working with women. I think wealthy women are going to change the world. Not that
Agreed.
men aren't amazing, but women tend to have a different spirit when it comes to giving, when it comes to mindset, when it comes to, but they sort of lack that skill. There is still a wealth gender gap, and I would like to see that close.
Of course.
In my lifetime. So,
Agreed.
I mean, it's also people in transition, right? Because we are asset managers, so you need to have assets. So when people buy or sell homes, when people
Divorces.
get divorced, right? When
Jeff Bezos
Retire.
is
when people retire, I don't.
ex-wife.
Yeah, I don't.
She's a good one. That
would be a good.
That's
one.
your
That's a retirement.
That's your retirement
Yeah.
client.
So yeah, people.
12 billion, is that what she gave away last year?
Yeah, people
what she
in
gave
divorce,
away.
which
Yeah.
is sad, and ultimately, the bulk of our divorce clients tend to be women because they don't. They get a settlement. They don't know what to do. So we're, here to help them.
But that's good for you too.
But that's people
because
that need guidance.
Oh my gosh.
they definitely need guidance. And look, I'm sure that they'd rather be talking to a woman in that situation as well.
I have had people, right, that have had sometimes negative experiences with male financial advisors. And just in general, if they've had a negative experience in their divorce, they don't want a male, in that role for them, because they sort of feel like that was a negative before.
Yeah,
and then
right.
obviously
there's
anyone in a
association.
job transition, I don't recommend people leave their, their 401ks at their company. There's a cost to be in that plan. Those costs are split amongst the participants.
And it's
So-
not that hard to transfer it.
it's literally a phone call.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so easy. And I mean, nowadays, you don't have to, you can sign documents electronically. You can do things for Zoom. It's usually a call to get
I did it, and
transferred
I was a signature to my advisor, and he just did it.
It's super easy. Like,
And I had to sign some other stuff afterwards,
yes,
but it
there's
was
hardly
signatures.
any effort to it. But I think getting it to, life is also simplicity. When you have several 401ks left out there, that energetically is draining. So move them all into one space. And then also it's that, okay, well, if you have 20,000 here and 50,000 there, and it grows, but it doesn't look the same as when you have 100,000 in an account and that's growing, or when you have 500,000 in an account because you've, consolidated accounts. It's a energetic win when you see a bigger number, and it is inspiring to you to want to do better. It's funny. I had a client. She's actually a good friend of mine. And she had all this money in cash, and she hadn't done a ton of investing. And it was like, once she put her money in and saw that it started to change, like it started to move in her favor. Now it's like, she'll put a transfer in. I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, and it's, you sort of get in that headspace of, okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there faster. So I think consolidating your accounts like that is energetically just a good practice.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I appreciate it.
What about y'all? You need somebody who has a lot of transactions.
Yeah, so right now, personally, we're looking for entrepreneur software, people that are building software developers. We love those. They don't know that they have options besides Stripe and PayPal to do that integration. They do. We've been doing it longer than both of them. We've got the technology that can do it. And we like to say we're a partner, not a service. And PayPal and them, they're great companies for what they are. But
Their entry.
they're
right?
not, hey, I'm going to call Chris or Jay. Plus, they're not going to more than likely invest in your company. Me and Chris, we might.
Yeah.
You know, we might put a sales force behind it. There's a lot of things that we can do that they won't do. They can do it. They won't do it though.
Right.
You know, it's a personal relationship. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to go to their kids' weddings. Vice versa.
Nice. I love that.
Yep.
It's like that whole.
That's a meaningful relationship.
It is.
Inviting to the weddings. Yeah.
Exactly. I agree. I love that. That's how I am with most of my clients. Like they all become friends.
And we're looking for other people on this podcast. We want people that business people on the podcast. People with a lot of following. We need help with this thing. I mean, we're new at this. We learn every day. We're learning every day. This
thing, are rocking it out.
This thing has looked different week in and week out. This thing was nothing. Me and Bailey came here. Now we got Chris helping us, and he's we're gonna put cameras on the walls. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know. We're learning.
Supposedly, video is right the sort of wave of the future, and how business is going to be transacted.
Sure.
In that space. So
sure.
Good for you.
So we're looking for people with a lot of people that have a lot of followers. That can help us build this up and then help themselves.
Do they have to be in person?
No, we've done several of them on this TV where they're facing, and they're on the TV and we're facing them, and we do it. Yeah,
so
for sure.
anyone in the country,
anyone in the world. We did one with a guy. Was he in Turkey?
Israel. Oh, the first guy was in Israel.
Who?
The guy, the army guy.
Nah. He was in like Turkey or Istanbul or
Maybe
Istanbul, Turkey. Yeah, so same thing. Hungary. He was in Hungary. Yeah, Hungary. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like what I'm going to be in like 2 hours.
Entrepreneurs.
As long as I got the internet.
Like it doesn't have to be any brick or mortar. It can be just someone who's.
I think right now it's all commerce. If they're business owners, it's all commerce. I mean, that's not going to how it's going to be in another even 2 months. We'll have to be a little more specific.
Super selective, and I approve.
Well, we'll have to be. I mean, because there's only so much time in the day where you can do podcasts. So the guys are filling the calendar up. So if we can be, that's a good place to be, to go, hey, we can't take you. Hopefully we can get clients and go, hey, if you're a client of ours, you can do it immediately.
Yeah.
That's kind
VIP
of a signing
access.
bonus, a signing bonus kind of thing. If you sign up with us, we'll do our podcast with you and maybe do a commercial. We got the guy that's the producer is an animation guy. He can do an animation commercial for you.
That's awesome.
So we're gonna have a lot of cool stuff with that guy when he comes in. When Tristan comes here,
you just need people who can chat, right? You need some cool people.
That's important.
Well, you've helped that out a lot because I can talk for another 2 hours, but
Me too.
if the other person's not talking, it's just me bullshitting for 2 hours. I got plenty of stories.
I know. I'm like you. I could talk to a tree. It's fine.
I know. I can tell. You did well. You did well.
Good time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You guys be kind to each other.